Okay, we've covered a lot of ground so far on this program already, but let's just return to Israel one more time to get a sense from there after one of the most troubled weeks, I think, in Israel's history. We're now being joined by Anat Bernstein R, who's the president of the Israel-Asia and the chair of the Israel-India Chambers of Commerce. Anat, thank you so much for joining us. Well, what must be such a difficult time for all of you in Israel. Funerals to go to, loved ones to think about, friends and family perhaps to mourn. Must have been a really, really trying week.
It's, I think that this is one of the worst. I mean, the sadness, the shock. It's now Friday, and this attack was on Saturday, and we are starting to digest. On Saturday, they didn't release all the information. We knew that there were attacks, but the stories, the horror, the digestion of what happened here is gradually coming on us. And it creates, on one hand, a lot of sorrow, and on the other hand, so much anger that it happened to us again. I mean, it takes us as flashbacks to the Holocaust. A mother that is protecting her 6 months baby in captivity for 27 hours without water. A family that is taken and butchered and raped. And since that we were trying to avoid all this week, all those videos that it's not shown to us in the Israeli television, but in social media, you cannot ignore it. And I mean, it's barbaric.
Right, Anat, now from the shock, from the anger that I know many in Israel are feeling, of course, the attention is also now starting to move to what should be done with Hamas, and there's a lot of anger out there. But there's also now some increasing talk about what should be happening inside Gaza, the 24-hour deadline should the residents of Gaza go south. The entire basic question of how can a military offensive be carried out while still trying to minimize civilian casualties? How do you eradicate or deal with Hamas without having too many civilian casualties?
First, we need to remember the hostages, okay? There are 200 hostages, 85-year-old people, dementia, with their caregivers. They were taken to captivity, and there are babies 6-9 months old. So this is one thing that we need to remember in this equation, and they must be released immediately. And the global community, the world community, including India, should take part in this so important humanitarian act. Release the hostages, especially the young and old that are just helpless.
Anat, you've dealt very closely with India for a long period of time, been one of the people who's been really championing India-Israel relations for a very long time. What are your expectations from Israel, from India right now? Obviously, a massive outpouring of support in India, sharing the grief of Israelis after the terror attack. In social media, you're seeing so many Indians talking about this, expressing, solidarity with Israel. What are the expectations of India?
Prime Minister Modi on the first day and also on the second day to this war condemned the attack. But I'm expecting India to continue and support Israel in this fight of terrorism. It's not going to be easy, and we need India to stand with us. India is one of our biggest allies in the world, and we are expecting India to continue its support. I also would be happy if India helped in negotiating the release of the hostages. India is now a global leader, a G20 member, head of the Global South, head of the BRIC countries. India wants to have a seat in the UN Security Council. India wants a leadership position, and a leadership position means also to play a role here in the Middle East in specific, and in this case, help us first release the hostages and then try to find some solution to the poor Palestinians that are in the Gaza Strip. But the Hamas will be gone from this equation.
Of course, Anat, all of that is correct, but I guess friends and allies of Israeli would also be expressing the views, and perhaps the Indian government will also be expressing it like any other friend of Israel, that, of course, Israel has a right to defend itself, to act against terror, it must take action against Hamas, but at the end of the time, also do take efforts to prevent civilian casualties. Civilians in Gaza and children in Gaza don't deserve to suffer for the actions of Hamas, more than anybody else. And then at some point, a long-term solution will also have to be looked at. That might be the sort of advice that Israel is going to start getting from friends and allies as well.
Yeah, but I have an important message, and I don't know if the other people here in the program mentioned it. Hamas equals ISIS. Keep it in mind. This is a terror group, one of the worst, and if they will not stay within the boundaries of Gaza, it will spill to Africa, it will spill to Pakistan, it will eventually hit you. So don't think that it's our problem only. It's a terror group, which is one of the worst. Like the world beat ISIS, we have to join forces and beat Hamas. Please keep it in mind.
All right, Anat, we're going to leave it there for the moment. Our thoughts and solidarity are with you. I know you have funerals to go to right now.